virtual cooking lesson. Don't worry, I'm still weird. It's all good. So today's recipe is going to be chicken nuggets, because who doesn't like chicken nuggies, right? Like, it's one of my favorites. I grew up eating these. They're pretty great. First thing I want to go over, ooh, nice close up. I'll back up a little bit. It's kind of weird. First thing I want to go over is cross-contamination. The reason that we do this lesson typically in class is to go over not cross-contaminating the raw meat with anything that's ready to eat. So this is a great lesson on cross-contamination because our raw meat is going to touch a lot of stuff over here. The other thing I don't get to talk to you guys about this semester is my good friend Fat Tom. That's right, his name's Tom, he's fat. He's not really a person. It is the 6 things bacteria need to survive. Bacteria is what make us sick on foods. There's also good bacteria, but when we're cooking foods, we want to get rid of all the bacteria. Fat Tom stands for food, because it needs to eat something. Acid, say hi to Miss Foley. Acid, environments that have too much or too little acid, the bacteria can't survive in. Time, they need time to multiply. Temperature, they don't like certain temperatures. Oxygen, and moisture. So today we're going to talk about temperature. The temperature to kill the bad bacteria on chicken is 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So we want to make sure our chicken gets to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, otherwise you put yourself at risk for things like salmonella or other foodborne illnesses. All right, chefs, so here we have our mise en place. That just means I have everything set up to get started. I have my chicken, I have my eggs, flour, breadcrumbs, my pan, my aluminum foil, and my nonstick spray. First thing I want to do is preheat my oven to 400 degrees. So I'm going to turn it until it says 400. Almost. Next, I'm going to take a piece of tin foil and put it on my baking tray. And I'm going to spray it with the nonstick spray. So, nonstick spray. I'm not going super close like this, like I'm writing something out. I'm going to step back a little bit and give it a all-over coating. All right, chefs, so these are actually out of order. We want to go like the month of February. Flour, then eggs, then breadcrumbs. So I'm going to open up my flour. I'm going to pour some in the bowl. That was probably way more than I needed. I'm going to take out 2 eggs. And I'm going to open up my breadcrumbs and pour them in a bowl as well. When it comes to cracking my eggs into the bowl, I'm going to crack them in here, and I'm not going to put the shells on the counter because that's one way that we cross-contaminate. Raw eggs are something that could also make us sick because of the bacteria in there. So I'm going to keep the trash can right here, and I'm going to crack my egg and put it right into the trash. I'm not putting it anywhere else. I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to beat my eggs until the yolk is all broken up. Now you'll notice I didn't really measure out the breadcrumbs and the flour because it depends on how much chicken that you're going to cook. Just for today, I'm not going to cook that much chicken because it's just me and Miss Foley. We don't need that much. So I put about a half a cup of flour in here and a half to 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs. You don't want to put too much in here because once the raw chicken touches that, you cannot put it back. That is touched raw chicken. Imagine I put raw chicken in there and then I took the leftover and I put it back in the thing. Now the entire container is filled with cross-contaminated breadcrumbs that had raw chicken on them. We're going to get sick. So you don't want to use too much. You can always add more as you're going if you need it. All right, so the main difference between chicken nuggets and chicken tenders is just the shape. Think of if you've ever been to Chick-fil-A. They have the nugget meal or they have the tender meal. The chicken that I bought was already cut into tenders, but I'm gonna make nuggets because they're like easier to eat and I don't want to eat that much, so I can just take a couple of nuggets at a time, and I prefer chicken nuggies. So now I'm gonna cut up my chicken into nugget-sized bites. So these are the chicken tenders I bought from the store. This was the only size they had left. Because of the pandemic, a lot of foods are just kind of running out. So I'm going to take it, and I'm always going to use the claw when I'm cutting. If I cut like this and I slip, I might accidentally chop my finger. But if I cut with a claw and I slip, It just goes against my knuckle. It's not going to be the end of the world. Now, there are people out there who think you're supposed to wash your chicken before you cook it. I'm not going to argue with your parents. I'm not going to argue with anyone. But science has shown that actually rinsing off your chicken, you're more likely to spread the bacteria that's on there. So it's advised that you don't rinse off your chicken. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it into little nuggets. So now that our chicken are all in equal sized nuggets, we're going to dip them into the flour, and that's going to absorb the extra moisture that's in there. Then I'm going to dip them into the egg, and the egg's going to provide almost like a glue for the breadcrumbs to stick to. All right, guys, I'm doing this not in selfie mode, so I'm hoping that you can see everything that I've got going on here. I'm going to run it like an assembly line. So I have everything in order to go right onto the pan. This way I decrease the amount of things that my raw chicken is going to come into contact with. So I'm going to grab my fork. You can use your hands. I kind of choose not to. I'm going to take my chicken and I'm going to swirl it in the flour. Then I'm going to dip it in the egg. And then I'm going to dip it in breadcrumbs. You want to coat the entire piece. And then simply just drop it on your pan. And I'm going to do that over with every single little nugget. Now, some people choose to kind of do it all at once instead of one by one. You can, but you don't get to have as much control over the amount of breadcrumbs and stuff that gets onto your chicken. So I prefer just to go one by one. This way I know that each chicken nugget was made with love. So the way my mom used to make these growing up was she'd put them in oil. She'd fry them on the stovetop in oil. But I want to make them a little healthier. This way, it's actually easier to make it this way, and it's a little bit healthier because I get less of that oil in the food. So I'm going to put them right on the baking sheet. So you can see here, they're all on one layer, so they're not stacked up on top of each other, and they're all about the same size. This way they cook at about the same rate. In the middle rack, I'm gonna shut the oven. It's on bake on 400, and then I'm gonna set a 10-minute timer. So I'm gonna hit time. Once Alexa lets me know when that first 10 minutes is up, I'm going to take them out. I'm gonna flip them over, put them back in for another 10 minutes. You wanna make sure there is no pink in the middle of it, and you wanna check the temperature. At home, I do not have a meat thermometer. At school, we use them because we're serving other people food, but at home, I actually don't have one right now because I did have one, I lost it. But because I'm only cooking for myself, I take different steps. But when I'm cooking for other people, I want to be sure everything is perfectly safe. Alexa, stop timer. All right, so now I'm going to take them out of the oven, but I can't put that on camera because I am one person and I have two hands. I don't want to burn myself, so stay tuned. All right, now I'm going to take these and flip them all over. And now I'm going to wash these tongs before I use them again because that chicken's not cooked all the way through and I don't want to cross-contaminate. So I'm going to wash off these tongs in the 10 minutes that it takes to put these back into the oven. So Alexa, set another 10-minute timer for me.
Starting now.
I'm also going to throw out all the ingredients that are inside these bowls because they are cross-contaminated with raw chicken now. And now I need to clean them out. One raw egg too. And I don't want to use any of that stuff again because then we are going to get really sick. Yay. I'm also going to spray my counters with antibacterial spray to clean it because again, some raw chicken and egg may have touched there. I don't want to cross-contaminate. You may think, so Shaughnessy, it's not that serious. Yes, it is. Salmonella is nothing to mess with. Okay guys, so my timer went off, so I'm gonna open my oven. Ooh. Carefully take out with an oven mitt. Put it right up here because I haven't used the stove anytime recently, so I know it's safe to put up here. But if you had just used your stove and it was still hot, I would not suggest putting that up there. I would grab another mitt, put it here, and then put it down on that. So I'm gonna cut some open, make sure they're not pink inside. Now if you look inside, there's no pink. It's all white No redness, no pink. They are safe to eat. I would suggest serving them with ketchup, honey mustard, barbecue sauce, whatever it is you like to eat your nuggies with. These are a great snack throughout the day. You can pop them in the microwave and make a whole bunch early in the week. You can eat them for dinner with a nice vegetable. Add a vegetable, please. Yeah. And there you have it. There's your first virtual recipe of chicken nuggets. Woo! I miss you guys.